Okay, then the next comment is about the all-is. The all-is, you refer to it as the whole of life. The whole of life is all included. And I want to think that even the gods, even if man created, or they also form a part of the whole of life. Then I find it paradoxical that you talk of the all-is, yet you bash the gods. So is the all-is all-inclusive or exclusive of parts of itself, Duane?
Do we have a car accident with the gods, Charles? I was bashing the gods. How did I do that?
No, I mean that from what you've been saying, the gods are not part of the all-is, the totality of life. So I say it is paradoxical that we talk about the all-is, which means the totality of life, and I think it should be all-inclusive, not exclusive. So what do you say?
Well, again, those are your ideas, but if you see what I'm writing, I'm creating comparisons for people to understand. That's all. Okay? Again, not about good, bad, or right or wrong. Simply creating comparisons so they can decide. So they, making their choices and describing these positions. So when you're talking about anything called so-called gods, which there's no such thing, these are the individuals that have appointed themselves to be such, and that's fine. Everybody can have whatever they want. This is how life is. But those things are only in creation. That's all. It has nothing to do with what life is. So there's a difference. And so again, continually, providing references and hints for people so that they can start to see the difference and wake up to what's going on and recognize this reality. Yes, because it is invisible, but it is seen with your real awareness when it is truly recognized. Yeah.
Okay, Duane, the next comment is about your message in this age. So is your new message, is your presentation consistent with the spirit of the age? I find that in some of the books you've written, you mentioned the Kali Yoga, which is in which, as we know, the law of Dharma or the law of righteousness is at its very lowest ebb in this age of the Kali. This, if not completely non-existent. So, as a consequence of this absence of this righteousness for one's own sake, for one's own, which conforms to one's own nature. So you find that society has got to be regulated through the courts, the laws, judges, restrictions, rules, rulers, and many others. And this is often maybe without success. And you find that if we compare this with what obtained during the Satya Yoga, where we are told righteousness was, was in people's hearts. So there was no need for courts and laws and all the like. No need for regulatory institutions. So now, when you compare, when you make a comparison with the bird and animal world, where they don't need any governing authority. So I want to ask you, is your presentation consistent with the spirit of this age. When you want, when when we talk about these restrictions, which are really consistent with this age, are you not advocating for? Are you not seeking utopia here?
I don't reference that at all, Charles. Again, I'm simply reporting the news, you might say, and that is of what's taking place. Because of the free will and the choices people have made, they've created what they have, and they have a right to do that. And they have a right to, again, invent, create whatever they want, and live with their restrictions, live with the effects of all of it, which we're doing. And the new presentation, again, is not a category. And it has nothing to do with old or new age or anything like that. All right, those are references that pertain to things here in creation. The new presentation, again, is simply something that refers to the true reality life is, but at the same time provides a real education about what's really taking place in creation. And the universal files are evidence of that when people can learn to relate to them as one aspect. But then again, I've never referred to the ages of things. These are creations, like consciousness is created. And yes, I have referred to the Kali Yuga and things like that in places in the books, simply because take off from what Paul implied. But actually, with the new nowness of the all is, what's really cool, it's not, it doesn't apply to that anymore for those that want to see more and be more. Okay, but this is a big journey. This can take you lifetimes. There's no time element on it. It's not that all of a sudden you read the book and it's like, okay, well, where are we? And the utopia or whatever. No, I'm not building anything. What I'm doing is I'm relating to the old natural environment and simply suggesting that people have the choice to relate to this reality too, instead of keep destroying it. So we're not building a utopia here. That's not the new presentation. But yet doing something, keeping busy with something here that makes sense with the environment that you're in. Yeah, just like the birds and the animals do. They're just making sense of their environment and surviving it and not destroying it. So there's many ways, many choices people have with their free will, but building a utopia, you mean like Harry built the temple? No, I don't specify any of that. If anything, I would create rainforests and wildlife reserves, etc., along with the natural environment. We're not building cities and better housing and all this stuff like that. I've never implied any of that, so there's no utopia or anything involved here. It's all about the all-natural environment everywhere through creation, and especially it really implies what the real universe is, and bringing about that awareness through references for people to relate to so that they eventually can become self-sufficient everywhere.
Okay, then another question. The true guides, or the real guides, as we call them, they did not just appear they did not just come into existence with the creation of Ekanka, Vadanka, the NuPresentation. And even though they minister or they serve all life indiscriminately, I think the real guides, while on earth here, they pursued various traditions. And these traditions, or whatever line of endeavor they undertook, whatever religion or whatever philosophy or whatever, is what took them to the heights that we find them in today. It enabled them to attain a certain level for life itself to complete them, so to say. We find these masters, we find this the guides, they are everywhere. They come from all walks of life, from all backgrounds, and to be where they are today as the real guides of life, how can you now how can we now in this new nowness, the times we are living, following your message, knowing that they came through various traditions, how can we look down on what they came through, to be what they are, to be the real guides they are? Do you think these systems were not worthy enough, and they could groom these real guides that we find, that we'll now refer to and depend on, Duane?
So what's the basic idea here again, Charles? Looking to tradition and what they went through, like you when you went through high school, okay, etc. So that's all creation is. It's a big high school, you might say. And everybody's come into wherever. It really doesn't matter. The end result is all that matters, and that is recognizing what life really is. And all of creation, no matter what ideas you have in it, good, bad, or indifferent, they all apply to a reference and how it's recognized. So in other words, we go through everything. In our minds, we like to sort it out as it's good, bad, or indifferent, or whatever, or why did I go through that? I didn't have to. Well, again, you gain viewpoints. And so what I refer to as the real guides is these are simply individuals like you and I, because again, it's something that, the personal self, the literal part, needs to relate to, needs a reference. And so we just start off there. But what they went through, that becomes personal interest. Okay, and Paul went over a lot of this stuff already. That's why I don't go there. Because again, why do the same thing again and again? Look at all these people that have taken what Paul has done and others, and they just keep going over the same things. They keep putting the same stuff on, the same information, putting the words together and the ideas together, and really, where does it refer to? And so again, is there something else that can be seen and implemented, and etc.? And the creative part of ourselves really enhances this reality, you might say, for us to better understand it. But if we just use what we've always used, then it just becomes old, reoccurring routines. It no longer becomes becoming more aware. You just become, locked into old routines. And that's all it is. And people can think, well, gee, I'm this or that, or I've got this or whatever. But realistically, is it so? But again, each person's got to figure that out for themselves. And this is why we have the Skypes and what have you, because you get objective views, and everybody has their experiences. And I suggest to get together and share those experiences to get more views. But the bigger picture is, why are you here? What's your purpose for being here? And then the real purpose is to recognize the is and stand real with that. How do you do that? And so is it just you came here to get a job and have a career? Do you have a purpose for being here? Is it just to, accumulate this, rearranged words, etc. in a particular way? So yes, we do create a reference here, but the old references, they don't really work anymore with the new nowness life is, because life is new now. It's not old, like I've said, but if people want to relate to the old stuff because they feel comfortable with it, that's their choice. And it's all okay. Everything is okay. It's a matter of choice.